In today's video I'm gonna show you how to actually find direction in the markets and how to read price with Bbma. Now what I'm gonna do firstly is explain about EMA 50 because I didn't really do that in the last videos. So EMA 50 is basically this blue line here, exponential moving average, and basically what it does is it's like an indicator for trend. In a nutshell, when price is below, it's in a downtrend, and when it's very far away from the moving average 50 relatively to, for example, here, it shows that price could come back, okay? Or at least that it's very stretched out to the downside in this case. And yeah, for the opposite as well, price is above EMA 50. That means that it's in an uptrend. So basically, when price rejects the EMA like this, in Bbma it can also be seen as an extreme, and it's one of the best extremes in my opinion because it's a high time frame extreme basically, because it's a EMA of 50 candles. So yeah, it doesn't really reject much, so when it does, it gives a move, right? But yeah, so what I'm gonna do actually to read price here and how to prove that I can do this with Bbma is I'm gonna just spin the tickers, and it should land on a forex pair. And I said forex pair, not crypto or stocks. Let's spin it one more time. Alright, GBP NZD. So we land right on a extreme here. Extreme C is it called in Bbma, and that's because it's the third extreme. And yeah, you can basically see it rejected the EMA here and price went up, right? And actually what I see here in this whole area is that it's doing a re-entry on the daily. And how do I see this? Well, firstly, I see a move up here. The EMA is below the mid Bollinger Band, which is also called ZZL by the way in Bbma, which stands for Zone Zero Loss. But yeah, you don't really have to remember that because it's not that important to remember the names, only what it does. So yeah, why is this area a re-entry area? Firstly, because of the trend, right? It's going up, and what I explained about the EMA 50. And secondly, because price closed below the mid Bollinger Band, CSAK sell. So that means that when price does a CSAK sell in an uptrend, it's usually just going for a re-entry in the re-entry zone, which is this area, probably because it reacted from here. And basically, since this is like, it went to the low moving not low moving average, but the low Bollinger Band. And yeah, when it basically goes only like slightly to the low Bollinger Band and below the mid Bollinger Band, then it's on time frame 2 of a re-entry. So let's just mark out this zone from here to here, because this is probably the daily moving average low. Exactly. As you can see here, it touched the daily moving average low, which is a re-entry zone. And we have our CSM here. Went for a long time, as you can see here. And yeah, so what you can do actually for this re-entry, let's say you wanted to take the re-entry, you can wait for the extreme on time frame 2, which is here. Go to time frame 3, wait for either MHV or CSAK buy, because CSAK buy means that there basically is no barrier or sell setup left. And yeah, there wasn't really an MHV here because it made an extreme here, which is like probably seen as extreme A, although it's not really, the low moving average is not really out of the Bollinger Band, but since it's like very close, it's basically the same thing, right? Every CSM is also an extreme. And yeah, when it made the re-entry here, it went straight past it to make a CSAK buy. And yeah, what you can do in this case, let's say you want to take the trade on the third time frame, you enter for a buy on the CSAK, stop loss below the low Bollinger Band, and target at least a 1-to-1, right? And in this case it went for a 1 to 1.6, but yeah, 1-to-1 is fine if you have a higher win rate, right? And even you can get a lower, higher RR if you, for example, take the re-entry here on the third time frame re-entry zone, or you combine it with, I don't know, order block, you can refine it to here. But let's just say you wait for the time frame 3 re-entry, then you get a 1-to-2 maybe, sometimes more. This case it was a very large move up here, so usually it's a little bit lower, but it depends on the setup. So yeah, that's basically how you could have taken that re-entry there. And even if you're not sure to take that re-entry, you can also just, in some cases, wait for the time frame 3 CSM buy, and take the entry there, and decide your stop loss somewhere over here. Why there? Firstly, because the EMA cross over here, and secondly, because, well, let's say price wants to do a re-entry from the CSM, right? What it usually can do also is go to the mid BB area here to go up. So if you place your stop loss, let's say you enter here below the mid BB area where it would do the re-entry, so around this area or below this area, then yeah, you can also take the entry there and take the trade. But don't just take advice from me, backtest this all yourself, because I haven't backtested this exact thing, it's just experience. And yeah, that's how I would have taken a trade on that re-entry right there. So let's just go back to the 4 hour. And yeah, what is price doing here? So first of all, I'm seeing that, okay, price was above the EMA, made a rejection here, went down, then made a crossover and rejected top BB. Now, what this means, probably it went to a sell re-entry zone around this area, but we don't know if it's a strong re-entry or not, because the main trend is up. So if we look at the daily again, so yeah, what we can see here is that it indeed went to a sell re-entry zone here, the MA 510 high after a CSAK sell. And if you paid attention, then you heard that I said, well, a rejection of the EMA can be an extreme. So yeah, in this case it might be an extreme buy, because what do we see? CSM crossover, CSAK sell, meaning it can go down to a re-entry zone in this area here. So this means that this might be the time frame 2 of a re-entry buy on the weekly. Well, look at here. Re-entry zone weekly. So it didn't touch the MA low, so it can still do the re-entry, and you should wait before you take buys, because it hasn't it didn't go to a re-entry buy zone, and it hasn't invalidated the daily sell yet, because it's still moving down from the top Bollinger Band area here. And yeah, so basically it's overall in an uptrend, but it can still come down before it goes up, and because of that you can't just take entry buy, okay? You have to wait. So back to the weekly. As you can see, it's in an overall uptrend, very clear. EMA below the mid BB, making CSM, and right now it has done probably a monthly re-entry, because it went down to the low BB area with a CSAK sell, made some extreme here, failed the re-entry buy here, re-entry sell here. So let's just take a look at the monthly just to be sure. Yes, so monthly also big uptrend, but it might be making MHV, or at least it has already made MHV, because the top BB is flat and there wasn't any more CSM or CSA here, sorry, CSA. So yeah, basically it went down to the mid BB area together with the MA low, but it just went straight through the MA low, so it took the mid BB area where it took re-entry buy. So still uptrend, waiting for re-entry here or invalidation of the daily sell. Now you might ask, okay, how to invalidate this daily sell here? Well, you have to go to the 4-hour time frame 2, and to invalidate the CSAK sell you would need a CSM buy, okay, closing above the top Bollinger Band. Now why is this? No clue, but from experience I've seen that when there's a CSAK and it has some strong momentum downwards, like here if it made a CSM sell, that turns actually the CSAK buy, so this move here. Now this move right here would make it a sell, okay? But I'm gonna get into that later in a different video, show some examples and basically go deeper into it. So yeah, back to the 4-hour, should invalidate here to take a buy, otherwise you just wait and wait till it goes into the daily MA low to invalidate any other sell setups, and when it has invalidated like the 4-hour and the daily sell, then it could go up again. So yeah, that's how I read the charts with Bbma. This was basically the basics, which is all you need for overall direction. And there are some tricks as well which are secret for now, might share it later. But yeah, now you know how to read the charts with Bbma.